Hello, church, and welcome back for our daily devotional on Monday, July 13th, as we continue in the Song of Songs. We are currently in chapter 3, and for the last several sections, we've had this back and forth between our two lovers. And the most recent one, she is searching desperately for her lover and talking to the sentries, or for her beloved, depending on the translation you're doing, and then eventually finds him and gets this kind of response. Shift in sections and kind of an interruption in what we had before. And Weems, so the part you're gonna be hearing is going to go in to our speaker, the protagonist, this black-skinned woman, describing a wedding procession for Solomon. We didn't just have a jump in characters. Weems proposes that the best way of thinking about this is to see it as a kind of like a vision, might not be the right word, but it's a fantasy and telling of the protagonist. So she's starting to think about their wedding day. And that is a culmination or a coming. So, okay. She entitles the section, "Who is this coming up from the desert?" as she's laying out this kind of vision of Solomon in the wedding procession. What is that coming up from the wilderness, like a column of smoke, perfumed with myrrh and frankincense, with all the fragrant powders of the merchant? Look, it is the litter of Solomon. Around it are 60 mighty men of the mighty men of Israel, all equipped with swords and expert in war, each with his sword at his thigh because of alarms by night. King Solomon made himself a palanquin from the wood of Lebanon. He made its post of silver, its back of gold, its seat of purple. Its interior was inlaid with love. Daughters of Jerusalem, come out. Look, O daughters of Zion, at King Solomon, at the crown with which his mother crowned him on the day of his wedding, on the day of the gladness of his heart. So while we have kind of an interruption in the poetry, it actually fits into the previous sections fairly well. So we have this woman calling out to the daughters of Jerusalem to say, look, remember this moment, remember King Solomon and the day of his wedding, as she is looking to be with the one that she loves. Some reflection for you, two pieces, which all relates to marriage. For those who are married, Song of Songs is a reminder of how naive and idealistic we were on our wedding day. We look back on our wedding photos at the slim, dashing young man with the full head of hair and the svelte, glowing young woman, and we say to ourselves, gosh, we were naive. I normally say, dang, we were young. By luring those of us who are married into reliving our wedding day, and by enticing those not married to imagine that day, Song of Songs reminds us of what it means to pledge to live one's life with only one other individual. A man and a woman pledge to submit to each other and to expose his or her wounded self to each other for scrutiny and healing. We promise to allow our two lives to be melded into one brand new life together. The man and woman in Song of Songs remind us of how much passion, enthusiasm, and utter idealism it takes to believe such things are even possible. In marriage, each partner is given the opportunity to see one person as he or she has never seen another person before. Living as a child in a parent's home does not quite prepare a person for marriage. Neither does living with someone outside the bonds of marriage ensure that once married, one has a jump on marriage. Marriage, as a union of articulated vows and commitments, allows an individual the context in which to glimpse into the heart and soul of another, to behold another's nakedness and vulnerabilities, to handle and to nurse another's wounds and bruises. A covenant vow is needed to embark on this kind of undertaking, for it acknowledges that it takes an act of will and a power greater than two frail parties to prevent either or both from abandoning the tedious work that lies ahead. Physical attraction may draw the two together, but it will take a supernatural attraction to keep them together in love. And while that is true, while it is while it is true that living in covenant union with another human being may prove the most unglamorous, exacting, and excruciating work a person will ever undertake, it is also the most extraordinary effort one can engage in. Behold, it is a mystery. Good stuff, Renita Weems. I didn't mention it, but on July 7th, my parents celebrated their 56th wedding anniversary. So very happy anniversary to Nick and Margie about a week later. And good luck for the rest of your day. Blessings, and we'll be back with you tomorrow as we continue in chapter 3. See you then.